Hi, the goal of this lesson is to teach you how to graph equations in y equals mx plus b form. And to do this, you must absolutely already understand how to graph equations in y equals mx form. And I would recommend watching my video on that. Okay? So if you know this, graphing equations in this form is actually very, very easy. Okay? Let's consider these two equations. They're almost the same, except that here, the y values are 3 more. So we take our x values and we multiply by 1/2. So 0 times 1/2, 2 times 1/2, etc. Okay? Here, we actually don't have to multiply by 1/2 again. We just take these same y values and add 3. So 0 plus 3, 1 plus 3, etc. Okay? And we can plot these. Okay? So notice what happens from here to here. Each point moves up 3. Well, why is that? Well, we know that the y-axis is up and down. And if we increase y values by 3, the points move up. So in general then, increasing y values moves points up. Likewise, decreasing y values moves them down. Okay. So what this means is this plus b at the end moves a graph of y equals mx up or down. So therefore, to graph equations in this form, we graph just this part and then move the graph up or down b units. Okay? For example, the graph of y equals 2x plus 1. Let's graph just this part, y equals 2x. Just to review, we start at 0, 0. The slope is 2. So we go right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2. Okay? Now though, the y values are 1 more. So every y value increases by 1. What that does is move every point up 1, up 1, up 1. What do we graph here first? Just this part, y equals 2/3 x. Again, we start at 0, 0. The slope is 2/3, meaning we go right 3 and up 2. Here though, the y values are decreased by 4. Well, what does that mean? Well, every point goes down 4. Again, the y-axis is up and down, and the y values get smaller as we go down. So decreasing the y values by 4 moves every point straight down. And instead of saying move, we're going to say the word translate. Translate in this context means to slide a figure. In general, when we change a graph, we call that a graph transformation. So a translation is one type of change or transformation that we can make to a graph. So using that word, in general, how do we graph equations in this form? We graph just this part, then we translate the graph b units up or down. So for example, to graph this equation, let's graph only y equals 4x first. Again, here is 0, 0, right 1, up 4. Now though, the y values are 3 less. So every point goes down 3. We translate the graph 3 units down. So every point goes down 3, down 3, down 3. Let's graph just this part. Okay. We start at 0, 0. The slope is -3/4. What that means is we go right 4 and down 3. Here, however, the y values are 2 more. So what does that mean? Well, again, the y-axis is up and down. So if y values increase by 2, every point moves up 2. So we translate this graph 2 units up. Every point goes up 2, up 2, up 2. Okay. Why am I teaching this in this way? Well, this is very important for the rest of the time that you take math. For example, to graph this equation, we graph just this part and translate the graph up 3 units. To graph this equation, we graph just this part and translate it down 4 units. Likewise here, we graph this part only, then we translate it up 1 unit. Also, this way, breaking it down into 2 parts, it should be more clear what to do if you're having trouble. First, you need to master graphing just equations in this form. Then you need to study how the plus b affects the graph. Okay. With that in mind though, do we actually have to draw both graphs? No. You may be thinking, well, why don't we just start at this point and then use the slope to find more points? And that's exactly what we do. We just graph this line directly by starting at this point on the y-axis. Okay. So in general then, let's review how we graph equations in this form, y equals mx. Okay. Where do we start? 0, 0. Okay. From 0, 0, we use a slope to quickly plot more points, and then we connect them. Okay? For equations in this form, we don't start at 0, 0, we start at 0, b. So if this is plus 5, we would start at 0, 5. If this were minus 3, we would start at 0, negative 3. And from that point, we use the slope to plot more points. Okay. Just to be clear, let's call this point the y-intercept. What's the y-intercept? It's the point where a graph crosses the y-axis. So this should be easy to remember, because I think you know what an interception is in sports. What's an interception? It's where a ball is thrown and the player crosses the path of the ball. So here, this graph crosses the y-axis at this point, 0, 3. So this point is the y-intercept. Here, the graph crosses the y-axis here. So this point is the y-intercept. So just to be clear, this point that we're talking about, 0b, is called the y-intercept. It's a point, the point, where a graph crosses the y-axis. So y-intercept, y-axis. Okay. With that in mind, let's graph this equation. Where do we start? Well, before we start at 0, 0, but now we're adding 3. So we're starting 3 up from there. We're starting at 0, 3, the y-intercept. Okay. Just like before, we use the slope to plot more points. What's the slope? This number right here that's multiplying x, negative 1/2. So what does that mean? It means as we go right 2, we go down 1. So right 2, down 1, right 2, down 1. This is the same as left 2, up 1, left 2, up 1. We have our points, we connect, that's our graph. Okay, again, where are we starting? Not 0, 0, but 2 up from there. So 0, 2. What's the slope? There's an invisible 1 right here. That's 1 over 1. So we go right 1 and up 1. Right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1. That's the same as left 1, down 1, left 1, down 1. We have our points and we connect. Where do we start? Not 0, 0, but 1 down from there. So 0, negative 1. What's the slope? Well, let's think about this. It doesn't matter where the x is written. In each case, x is being multiplied by 3 and divided by 2. So even though it's in this form, this is the same as saying x times 3/2. So our slope is just 3/2. Okay? What does that mean? It means as we go right 2, we go up 3. Right 2, up 3. That's the same as left 2 and down 3. Left 2, down 3. And connect, that's our graph. Okay? Where do we start? Not 0, 0, but 3 down from there. 0, negative 3. What's the slope? Negative 2, or negative 2 over 1. What does that mean? We go right 1 and down 2. Right 1, down 2. That's the same as left 1, up 2. Left 1, up 2. We connect, that's our graph. Okay, where do we start? 0, 1. What's the slope? Negative 1. That's negative 1 over 1. So right 1, down 1. Right 1, down 1. Left 1, up 1. And connect. Okay. In summary, the value here for m determines the slope, okay, or steepness of the line. If we change m, we change the steepness of the line. We've learned that this plus b raises or lowers the graph. So in summary, to graph equations in this form, we start at not 0, 0, but 0b. And we call this point on the y-axis the y-intercept. Okay. From this point, how do we plot points? We use the slope. Okay. That's all. Thank you for watching.